What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 55 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller. Looking damn fine in that shirt.
Oh,
Look at my little Smurf
Let
face.
Toast Tim host.
Let Toast.
Let Toast.
Let Toast Tim
What
shirt.
are you doing?
Just use this rag and wipe my phone down with the water. I just poured it on the table, if that's all right with you.
It's okay. It's just it's a weird move even for you.
Is
all
that a
of a sudden.
microfiber cloth that you wet?
Mm-hmm.
You're a weird person, Colin.
This is what gave it away?
This is it. This moment right here. I mean, because I would never think you would do this because you're so sensitive about your microfiber cloths.
Why wouldn't I put water on?
I don't know.
The water's not gonna do
I don't know. You're weird. You don't know where that water's been. This fucking smart water. Is it smart water or did you refill that shit?
Oh, he's been refilling
Yes,
it.
that's a
no,
classic, classic Colin move.
Well, because, I usually refill like the Arrowhead bottles, which are fine. But when you go to the airport, and I've been on an airplane 14 times in 5 weeks. It's true, 14 times. I get the fine water bottles, the smart water bottles.
I love
Napa
smart water.
Farms.
Or Napa Farms. And these bottles have a lot of
Size
girth
to them, and they're
strength.
quality bottles, man.
So I can use
They
this
got the
bottle.
little fishy. You got the fishy in there? No, you got some other shit. It's a monkey. Why the fuck's there a monkey in the water?
Monkeys
Collect 'em
drown-
all.
Monkeys drowning.
Monkey think, monkey do is what it says.
He's a monkey and he's drowning slowly.
Drowning?
Off
Drowning,
the
yeah.
course enough. Headed
I hate
away.
Arrowhead.
Really?
I hate Arrowhead with a fucking passion.
It's all just bottled water.
No, not Arrowhead.
Except Fiji. Fiji's the shit.
I don't like Fiji
Fuck
either.
you.
But
You have
Arrowhead
no
is the
taste
real
in water.
nasty, nasty shit. I just can't even handle it. Smart water's good. Dasani's
Smart
good.
water's good. Dasani's good, yeah.
All the Safeway
Dasani-
and whatever brands, those are great. Those are just fucking-
Dasani,
It's McDonald's water.
yeah, it has
Dasani
a little
is the Coke
when
water.
you open it. I don't like
It's that
that.
good.
No.
I love Dasani.
Yeah, it is Coke water.
But yeah, Arrowhead sucks. I don't like you. Because
Well,
you
you
like
don't like you.
I want Poland Springs, but we can't get that here.
Moulin Springs.
The fuck's happening?
Things are falling over there.
101 Dalmatians vinyl. This house is a fucking disaster.
That just like fell out of a hole in the wall.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The goat comes out.
this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast where every week we talk about video games and bottled water. I hope you enjoy all of that. If you do, you should go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. You can get this beautiful show early for all you big, beautiful kids out there. If you don't want to do that, you could just go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Subscribe there. Or go to itunes.com/kindoffunny. Subscribe there. And things will just be given to you for free. Like you're a poor person. How does that make you feel?
Damn,
I'm a poor person too.
Yeah, you are a poor
I'm telling you right now, this one's not worth $1.
No,
I'm taking it back. Yeah.
What are you talking about? See,
I don't
this is
know,
what I'm talking
being
about.
mean, being mean, you know,
You got
calling
this.
people poor.
You got this 5 o'clock shadow, and I said
I
it was
do.
like you're
I'm
evil
back.
Tim, and you're
Yeah.
evil Tim. This is evil Tim
I
mode.
saw myself in the mirror last night, and I was like, "Holy shit!" That's a lie. It was a selfie, but I saw myself in my selfie, and I was like, "Oh, this is the Tim I know and love." Like, I'm back.
You're not back there. You're in the weird
It's getting
evil
there.
period.
No, well, it's
period.
getting-
You've
no, but
never
I'm
been
not-
this mean to people.
This has been this was my modus operandi. Is that how you say that? What the fuck is falling, Kevin?
Superman 3 vinyl.
The vinyls we were given a long, long time ago.
So much shit's falling. I didn't even know that hole was there.
It's not a hole. They were just leaning
Don't you love
behind
it
the
when you
TV.
find new holes? Anyways, we're talking about
This
video
is,
games.
see, this is what I'm talking about. This is Tim on another level. This in between beard Tim.
I like it.
Leave your comments down below on what you think about Evil Tim. We're talking about the Nintendo NX. Throw
X
it
gonna
up.
give it to you.
So there's been a lot of rumors lately, and Colin, you brought this to my attention that we haven't talked about it formally. I feel like we talk about NX so much. I was saying, oh, we should hold off on it, but then I thought about it. I'm like, it's actually been quite a while since we really kind of delved deep into.
Yeah, well, there are
this
significant
thing.
new rumors.
And there's a bunch of shit. I looked at a couple articles, and I'm going to read them to you guys, and
Thank
then
you.
we'll discuss them.
Story time, everybody.
If you guys are familiar with Colin and Greg Live, I'm going to do my best Colin impression. That's not true. I'm just going to read. That's good.
Read
That's
aloud
good.
like
Good
anyone
questions.
else
All
reads.
right. Alex Osborne over at IGN says, a pair of Nintendo NX related reports have surfaced offering a handful of potential clues as to what the company has planned for its next console. According to a post on Twitter by the Wall Street Journal reporter Takashi something, Nintendo's next console may work with other devices, including PCs, smartphones, and most interestingly, other consoles like PlayStation 4.
Hells to the yeah.
Yeah, and if you look at the document, it actually also says Xbox One, but that's okay. Additionally, an apparent survey from GFK, a client of Nintendo, has surfaced online by way of Twitter user Liam Robertson, providing new details about Nintendo NX. In addition to mentioning connectivity between a handheld and console unit, the survey also highlights an achievement-based system, 4K/60 FPS video streaming, and, quote, gameplay graphics that run in 900p at 60 FPS. According to the rest of the survey, provided by Twitter user Emily Rogers, Nintendo's console may have a free online service as well as a subscription option that includes more features for a yearly/monthly fee. Backwards compatibility is also mentioned as the survey gauges interest in the ability to rent or purchase old games digitally, as well as support for previously owned digital and physical media. The second part of the survey also mentions a subscription-based game service that offers access to a library of over 150 titles that are changed regularly, with new games added to the catalog 6 to 18 months after their release. The remainder of the survey compares various price options, hard drive configurations, and more across an array of different game platforms, including NX, Xbox One, PS4, and other stuff. Yeah. There was also rumors, people were talking about there being an event before E3 that kind of announces the system.
100% agree with.
And like blows that out, and then E3 is the real, like, let's look at the games. And then there's also there was interviews where people were talking about Metroid Prime, and they're like, is Metroid Prime going to come to Wii U? Because there was going to be a big Wii U game announced, or not big, but a core Wii U game announced, and people were like, is it finally going to be Metroid? And they're like, nah. If a Metroid Prime was to be made, it would take 3 to 4 years to be made, and it would be for the NX. So,
because as Reggie said, we know what you want.
Mm-hmm.
We know what you want. We know what kind of Metroid
Prime
game you want. We're not ready to give it to you yet, but X will give it to you. He didn't say that part.
But he was thinking it, though.
Yeah,
they're waiting for E3 for that.
Yeah.
They'll do the little event first, and then at E3, DMX is going to come out.
DMX, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's on the Nintendo Direct. So what do you guys think about this?
There's so much of it I want to believe, so much of it I don't believe, and all these different things. It's a survey. Surveys all the time are red herrings, this, that, and the other. It was interesting to see how far these rumors made it based on just a survey. You know what I mean? We didn't talk about it. There was a rumor going around of possibly having the handheld version of the handheld component of the NX out this fall, and then the console component out next year sometime, which would be so stupid. And you hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I hope it does, just because it'd be funny.
No.
That they would actually do that. But I want them to succeed, so I hope they
you
do.
don't want that.
Exactly.
Colin. We're Team NX here.
The connectivity between the PC makes sense. You know what I mean? We've seen that before with the consoles communicating with PCs and doing that the other. The console to console connection is interesting. I don't know what the hell that would be. If it's just reading, I don't even know. You know what I mean? Because it's not like you're linking them up. Like, Windows makes it so easy to link up all these different devices and see other computers on this network and da-da-da. If it's something like that, but I don't know what you're using it for then.
Yeah, I mean, that's the part that makes the least sense to me, because I can't even wrap my head around what that could mean. Because right now, yeah, you can, look up Nintendo account stuff on your PS4. Does that count? Like, where's the line drawn of connectivity and what that actually means? And I think what would be insane is if this Nintendo service was available on other systems.
Yeah.
And that is kind of what they're semi hinting at here. But again, it is just a survey, so who knows what that means. That'd be a huge success for Nintendo, to be able to have the NX service on these real consoles.
Hell yeah, that'd be amazing.
But I mean, I don't know. Like, that would make NX succeed enough for me to make NX I Love You XOXO a weekly podcast. That'd be amazing, where I get to talk about Nintendo.
That'd be
stuff.
awesome if you did just call it that.
It would be great. What do you think, Colin? Like, what do you think the connectivity between the things could be?
I don't know. When I saw that, I agree that this is weird, based on it's not all. First of all, it's not all based on survey information. There are people that are very trusted. Emily Rogers, for instance, is a super trusted Nintendo source. So like, people that are talking about this are talking about it from, I think, a place of a little bit more. I don't want to say like insider information necessarily. Like, it's similar to how like Greg and I know a lot of things are true that we can't talk about, but sometimes we talk like more confidently about the things that could happen because we know they're true. So like, I wonder if there's something to that when someone from Wall Street Journal is talking about his connections, telling him this, and the other thing, and then there's the survey, and then Emily Rogers, who you said Emily Rogers was one of the people you brought up, right? Who has broken many things about Nintendo in the past. So I just wonder like how far some of these rumors actually go. To me, when I first heard the PS4 thing, I'm like, that's really brilliant. It's basically like middleware almost between the eShop and like these platforms, and maybe even PlayStation and Microsoft announced that they'll run this sort of Nintendo
It'll be
program.
an app. It'll be an app you can
But
get.
I don't think that's what it is. I think at the very least, what it probably is something like what Rocket League does, which is talks to PC and PS4 at the same time. And I'm wondering if like they just have all this information saying like we're not going to close the console off to communicating with other consoles, but you still have to play the NX itself to play NX games or whatever. Because I just don't see that they're going to. Because if what they're saying is true, then it's basically just them just going third party, and what the hell is NX at all? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's basically just like EA Access or something like that, where you have like this subscription model. So I was excited to see more information about NX, but then I was disappointed because I'm like, this just makes it even more convoluted. Like the
waters are even muddy.
like I just don't know like what all this means, but I do think that some of it, or maybe even all of it, is true in some sense. We just don't know like to the degree of like how true it is, because you can say like EA has a subscription thing on Xbox One. The NX could just be a similar thing again, having that on its own console, and maybe it has a game like Rocket League that will just talk to the other consoles too.
Yeah.
Instead of really closing themselves off, because Nintendo obviously always has this very closed off ecosystem. So I think that like we could either be reading way too much into it, or we might not be reading enough into it.
Yeah. Well, something that I think is interesting is the fact that they say that new games will be added to the catalog 6 to 18 months after their release. So a possible option would be that the old games, the Mario original trilogy on NES and like Super Nintendo games and N64 games, whatever, those could be subscription service playable to everybody. But the point of having the NX is kind of like our Patreon model, where if you want it early, if you want to play the new game when it comes out, you need the NX.
Right.
But if you wait 18 months or whatever, then you can get it in other
Yeah,
places.
that idea is like suicidal though. I hope that that's not what it is, because if it's the Tomb Raider effect, right? Like Tomb Raider didn't really seem to push any Xbox Ones, and it didn't sell very well because people are excited to play it, but the reason Square and Microsoft wanted to keep it quiet that it was coming to PS4 is because like no one, like if you just have to wait a year to play Tomb Raider and you have all these other games to keep you distracted, are you going to need the hardware at all? So if Mario Galaxy 3 comes out or whatever, and it's on NX and you have to wait a year to play it on PS4 through some sort of subscription service, how many people are just going to be like, all right, well, I'll
See,
wait.
I would think the easier way to go would be that the NX is what we're talking about, this app, right? Let's say that gets on Xbox One, PS4, or whatever, would be everything backwards, right? Where you're getting windowed content. Maybe it's even like PlayStation Plus in a way, right? Where it's like, let's say you have the NX and there's the NX console and this, I'm just gonna call it the NX app, right? The NX app could give you on PlayStation and Xbox a random selection that you're subscribed to, and so for like 3 months, right, all these Nintendo games are on there, but then at the 3-month mark, they go away unless you're playing on NX, right? And I'm talking about old stuff, classic games, SNES.
Well, that's kind of what it
NES
said
and
here. It said
Yeah.
that they're going to cycle through the games and stuff.
And
So
that-
that
but
totally
what I'm
makes
saying
sense.
is that's only old stuff. Like you're not going to see Metroid Prime NX for console game ever over here on any part of this.
Well, so that's the thing when it says with new games added to the catalog 6 to 18 months after their release implies that it is new games. Like I don't think that means new old games,
But
because that says 150 titles that are changed regularly with new games added to the catalog 6 to 18 months after.
but that's
I read that.
I think you can
as
get it as the
regular,
catalog.
meaning weekly, monthly. It's changed out, and then the new games are added way later. You know.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's exciting because if it is what it sounds like it could be, then this is Nintendo. This is a truly radically different Nintendo. But you have to. But if it is what it seems like it's going to be, then why are they making hardware at all? So it's. I still think that they're talking about like the game's running in 900p. Like the system is that weak. That's like the one thing. That's the one thing that and I'm not one of these resolution people. I don't give a fuck. Like it's fine. I don't care. It can look like an NES game. Is it fun? That's really all that matters. But when I heard that, I'm like, Jesus. Like my conjecture, although kind of radical, considering Nintendo's consoles have always been kind of weak compared to some of their contemporaries for the most part. I thought that they would be smarter. Than doing something like that, because this sounds like a system that's actually quite weak.
We talked about this on Colin and Greg Live, and that was a sticking point for me too. But the thing to keep in mind is this being a survey, that's such a random number, 900p at 60 FPS. There's no way that that's just the standard, that everything is going to be 60 frames per second and 900 FPS. You look at Wii U, and so many games are 900 FPS now, or 900p, and then there is ones that are 1080p. Some are 60, some are 30, whatever. So it's like it's weird that they even call that out, especially when they call out video at 4K 60 FPS video streaming. Like that just means like not everything's going to be that.
Yeah,
know?
it just seems like that might be the standard. I mean, that was the huge problem with Xbox One, which is that it seemed like it was having a hard time running games at 60 frames at 1080p. So you have to scale back the resolution to get the games running at a solid frame rate. Nintendo might just be trying to hit a benchmark for all the games, but I don't really know, because that shit, I just don't even care, because that's like that's not important to me. It just tells me that why would they say that if that wasn't going to be some sort of important
Yeah. I mean, it
feature?
is weird. And it's also weird that they call it gameplay graphics that run at 900p. Like, it's that whole sentence to me reads as like, there's something that we don't understand about that, because that's weird. There's no reason that 900p would be like, well, we couldn't make it 1080, so we're just gonna 900. That's what we're just gonna say.
Yeah.
Unless they're owning that. They're like, we're not getting 1080, and it's gonna be like the Xbox thing. But Xbox kind of made it sound like it was. So there was always those shifty things. But at least if Nintendo comes out, it's just like, it is what it is. That's what you're getting.
There's just a lot of questions beyond just the technical ramifications of what they're doing in terms of if there is a subscription service and it does run on these consoles, which remains to be seen if that's what they really mean. I just don't know if that's what they really mean.
It can't be.
If that's the case,
It just doesn't make. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. And so I want to be clear about that. That I don't know if that's what that's the part that's most dubious. But if that's the case, then like what is the play? Are there achievements and trophies on these games? How much does it cost?
But they said there's an achievement system.
That I know, endemic to Nintendo. But if they're going to put something on PS4, then their achievement system's not going to work. And I'm sure and Sony's not going to let Mario Galaxy be played and you're going to earn Nintendo achievements, but not trophies. Like that's just, they even did that to their PS2 games to like unify everything. There's just a lot of weird questions, which is why I think that's not what they mean.
Yeah, I'd love to be at Nintendo right now watching them react to these rumors. This stuff leaks. And it's just like, why did you put out this survey? Why would you say that? Why would you phrase it this way? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And their partners,
Yeah, but I mean, if the other exciting thing is that if it is what they mean, and they are going to have some sort of Nintendo subscription service that just plays old games on the other consoles, which I think would be shrewd,
That'd be
but
awesome.
maybe shrewd, but maybe not, depending on the reality of how long people want to wait and what games are on their subscription service. Then you have to wonder like what kind of conversations they had with the platform holders, because if that's the case, then this is just a radically different Nintendo with a radically different idea, and it's a Nintendo that's swallowing its pride, which I think they should have done by just announcing that they're not doing hardware at all, or at least a handheld maybe, but not a console.
Yeah.
It's what this sounds like to me is you can't judge it based on the rumors because we just don't know what it is. We don't know what's true and what's not. But what this sounds like compared to the rumors about Project Cafe, for instance, or Revolution or Dolphin is, I remember hearing about Dolphin and Revolution and Waggle and all this kind of stuff. It was kind of easy to wrap your head around. This sounds convoluted as hell. And if these rumors are true, man, like they need to simplify, and it sounds like they're not simplifying. Like to Greg's point, the idea or the rumor, and it's just conjecture, but the rumor that they're going to release the handheld component first and the console later is like one of the, if they fucking do that, that is the stupidest. That is stupid. Just wait. Just don't release anything until it's all ready. And I still don't believe it's coming out this year, like any of it. But because it just seems so sudden.
All the rumors point to it, though. I mean, that's the thing. Like looking through a bunch of different sources, all the analysts, all the like rumor stuff, it all leads to this year.
It just seems sudden. I'll tell you why. Because so PS4, for instance, was revealed in February of 2013, and it came out in November. So there was a 10-month gap or so, 9-month gap even. But Orbis was rumored for a long time before that, and we had specifics about Orbis. And you'll remember that I was one of the people that broke the story of the controller. Through our sources or whatever, and the light bar and all that kind of stuff when I was at IGN. That story leaked, and no one thought it was real, and then I was the one that talked to some people and figured out that it was. So we had like in other words, if this thing's coming out, then everyone has it, and no one's saying anything about it. Like it's easy to get out of Ubisoft, like the Assassin's Creed game that's coming out in 2 years, but no one's talking about this hardware that they have. I do believe that people abide by their NDAs. I mean, obviously everyone does. I mean, people like PS4s and Xbox Ones as well, but people did leak a lot of information about that kind of stuff. And so I just wonder how proliferated the console really is and if it's really going to be ready to go in the fall. And I would rather Nintendo just take their time and do it right and burn a little bit of cash than just try to rush to market something that already seems like it's going to have a significant uphill battle against its competition anyway. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's super exciting because we're not going to get hardware from Microsoft or PlayStation for
quite a while.
I would
With
say
the exception of
2019
VR.
or 2020. So it's cool to have like an interstitial console. But I will say that these consoles that come out in the middle of cycles,
the Dreamcast,
it doesn't work out. So
yeah, I mean, I'm definitely hoping. What's crazy to me is the fact that we're getting hardware, and this is something different. Like the fact that it is a handheld console hybrid. What the hell does that even mean? Like we've wrapped our head around, that's what it's going to be, and all that stuff, but I still can't fathom what that looks like in an actual real scenario where these games are coming out and stuff. Maybe the hardware is something where it is the NX app is the whole crux of the entire thing. And maybe there's no discs at all. And maybe it is totally you're playing on PlayStation or Xbox or PC or whatever it is. But then
you figure the thing would be like, and this is just in the weeds, totally crazy, it won't happen. But like what would make you buy the NX, right? If you're already playing the NX games or app or whatever you want to call it, right? And why is it 900 and not this? Maybe the hook and why we're talking about this handheld versus then the console coming later is the fact that the hook is the handheld, right? That you buy this machine and it's got the app dialed in if you have Wi-Fi and you can play all your Nintendo games there. And there's going to be a console component that's basically the receiver that puts it onto your TV at some point.
Yeah.
If you don't want to wait, if you right now you could buy this and have this portable device that goes anywhere with you, or you can play a selection of the games with these limitations on your Xbox, on your PlayStation to see if you like it or don't care. And then you get hooked into buying the thing, and then the console comes out and you are playing it that way off onto your big screen TV.
Yeah.
And that'd be why the resolution's dialed down, right? I don't think the
and
handheld's
so
gonna...
that's what I'm saying. Like that makes more sense to me in terms of like having the hybrid console thing of like just the system not being what we typically think of as a hardware console thing. It's going to be something different and new, or it's not, or it is just going to be the Wii U again. And then but instead of the gamepad being tethered, you can bring it other places. Like that would then be the only difference. And maybe there's apps and stuff places, and so you're right. Like they need to like make a big change and a big move to be able to actually do anything differently, or else it's just going to be the same weird experimental mistakes over and over.
Yeah, if the reliance is on other hardware, then I think they're making the right play. And if the reliance is on the other hardware, the most fascinating part about it is that Microsoft and Sony already know. And that's even more interesting. And what's even more interesting, even though the rumor says all the consoles, is that they just chose one of them. Now, like if I were them, that's exactly what I would have done. And I would have went with Microsoft if I were them, just simply because of the bad blood between them and Sony going back many years. So it's although that's perceived, who knows if they even get
right? Yeah, how many people are still in the organization that still hold?
Because Nintendo really did fuck Sony, and then Sony really did fuck Nintendo. So with their own device, basically,
everybody's fucking.
But it's interesting to think about the strategy behind NX in terms of Nintendo, and I've said this before, and I know it bothers some people, but Nintendo's audience is shrinking. It's demonstrable. It's obvious. And like the play has to be more than just another Nintendo console or it will fail. So, because Wii U was not enough. It was not enough to get anyone to care about it. And
some people cared.
But you know what he means. For it to be successful and financially viable.
We sold 103 million units or something like that. And the Wii U will be lucky to hit 12 million. There's something significant. 24. There's something significantly wrong with that situation. GameCube was considered. I loved GameCube, except for the NES. It might be my favorite Nintendo console, and that was considered a miserable failure. And it sold more than twice as many units as the Wii U. So they're trailing and tracking in the wrong direction. And the same thing's happening with 3DS. It's not as pronounced, but it's actually like DS Lite, DSi, 152 million units. 3DS 50 million or so. So it's. They need to figure out how to make a big splash. And honestly, it seems like the strategy should have been and might be to just go with the other guys in some way that still lets you have this like proprietary Nintendo feel where you have to boot up this thing that's Nintendo, but it's on PS4 and it's on Xbox One. And these companies are so excited about the fact that they're going to get Nintendo games on the console. So just let them do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
And enable trophies and enable achievements and have Xbox Live and PSN functionality and all that kind of stuff. That's what I get most excited about, but that's just too good to be true because this is Nintendo,
that's right.
and they don't make choices like that. But it is a new Nintendo and a different Nintendo. Iwata really set in motion a different kind of feel with the mobile games and DNA and all these kinds of things. So I just want to see how this all shakes out. Like the more conjecture there is, the more frustrating it becomes.
As the thing to think about in the way we talk about it, right? Like, let's say the handheld console thing, that's real, and what we're talking about is real, and that's the hook to it, right? The app is going to be on this. You get to play them that way, great. But you can buy our this thing that's a handheld and will one day be a console, right? If that's the case, then theoretically, you don't have Nintendo's going to become their own developer, own publisher, like onto the other platforms, right? So that hardware doesn't necessarily have to be out in the wild in that many spots. Is Ubisoft really making a thing for the NX to get their game onto? No, like, you know what I mean? This would be Nintendo's device to play Nintendo games or to play Nintendo games on their app, at which point the handheld/console is locked behind closed doors in Tokyo, and nobody is going to talk about it or do anything until it comes out, because you don't need to get it in the hands of developers.
If NX is a console or a hybrid of some sort, which it probably is, and there's no meaningful new game functionality on the other consoles, and it's for Nintendo games only, the thing's going to fail. I'm just saying that right now. No one's like, it's going to fail. It's going to be even worse than the Wii U. So like they can't do that. They just can't create a system to play just Nintendo games. They just did that, and it did not sell. Nothing on that console resonated with a large group of people. A lot of those games sold 1, 2, 3, 4 million copies. A game like Mario Kart seems to have like a 2 to 1 attach rate, which is huge. But predictably, it didn't really move units. Splatoon didn't really move units. Smash didn't really move units. It's the Nintendo fans are buying the Nintendo console, and there are fewer and fewer of them as you go along. So they need to figure out. I hope that's not true, because they might as well not even bother if that's the case.
But I mean, if they do that, then they get those millions plus all of the other shit from the other things. Then all of a sudden, like, maybe that's worth it. You know, like just getting old Nintendo games.
You figure
on
it's a Trojan
PlayStation
horse in a way, right? Nintendo makes Super Mario X or whatever, right, for NX, and it's awesome. You're playing it on your PS4 and you're having a great time. You're like, man, this is cool, and I'd love to play this on the road or that on the road, and da-da-da. And like, that's because that's the other thing is like the NX hardware. Let's say they're selling it by itself to begin with, and it's super cheap. It's $99.99, right, to have this controller device that is Wi-Fi enabled and uses the app and da-da-da-da. You put in you put in memory cards, but not like proprietary memory cards. You're putting in, regular memory storage, like SD cards that we're using.
I mean, that's all too good to be true.
Sure,
But I hope, and the only reason I even allow myself to go down that tunnel of believing is that when the NX was first announced, it was like Wii U, 3DS, and there was those like circles and all this stuff. And then NX was like a weird other thing. So it's like, it's clearly going to be different. It's not just a console, and it's not just a handheld, and it might not even be just a hybrid. Like, it's something new and something different, and it probably has to do with the cloud and all of this shit. So I don't know. I hope the thing I'm looking forward to most is E3 and seeing what they do there.
But now here's the question. Do you think
there's
there's going to still... So what about the event? Is there going to be an event, you think? Because that's what we've been predicting, and we are getting close to where that would have to be. PlayStation's event was in February. Xbox's was March, May? Okay, I remember it was
I think it was in May or April, maybe. It was a couple months after. I hope that they don't say anything till E3.
They just say we're back at E3. We'll see you at the conference.
Yeah. I don't agree with the need to show it and then let people marinate on it. It can't be that revolutionary. You just go to E3 and just show everyone what you have. I think that would be way more exciting and way cooler and like way more, just make a bigger splash. If everyone goes in and they really keep their mouths shut and no one knows what the hell's happening, I think that's fucking awesome at E3, as opposed to like, well, we know what NX is, now we see the games. Like,
Yeah.
I think I have a pretty good idea what your games are. That's not what's as exciting
Bomberman.
as it's not what is as exciting as the initiative behind what they're doing. And if we go in and we don't even know what the fuck the console is, and is it a hybrid, is it a console, is it a handheld, is it a service? Like, when you just have a bunch of questions and nothing leaks, that's more exciting. Let's
transition over to topic 2. E3. How E3 is changing. This is sparked by an article by Jason Schreier over at Kotaku. Electronic Arts is essentially skipping E3 this year, pulling out of the trade show in favor of their own events in Los Angeles and London that will be open to the public. Rather than hosting an E3 press conference and putting up a big flashy booth for trade show attendees, the publisher will hold an event called EA Play that will run from June 12th to June 14th at Club Nokia in Los Angeles, which is like a block away from E3.
Yeah, it's right across the street there.
And they also plan to hold a one-day event on June 12th at the Mermaid Event Center in London, which sounds awesome. I don't know where that is.
It's underwater.
Anyway, anyone who wants to attend either event can sign up for more information on the website. EA still plans to hold a press conference, they say, and it's likely we'll see news and trailers for much-hyped games like Mass Effect Andromeda and the Visceral developed Star Wars, but instead of their traditional spot on Monday afternoon, they're going to hold the press conference on Sunday at EA Play. Blah, blah, blah. They say a whole bunch of other stuff. What do you guys think about this?
Fascinating. You know what I mean? Like, we talk about all the time over in Publisher Hall. When you walk in there, it's EA is like the biggest one, and it takes up all this space, and there's usually a break in the middle of it, like, because it's that big. There's so much happening there. So that's going to be a huge hole to fill over there. And then you start wondering, it's like, well, and the question is, well, can they fill it? Of course they can, but like, are they going to stretch themselves thin? Who all do they let in? How do they do that? You know what I mean? And what does this mean? Are they like the canary in the coal mine of these big companies waking up to the fact of like, we really don't need E3. We should go make our own event. We should have a Bethesda kind of thing.
I mean, I think this is the best call they could have made. Like, owning your own event is the best thing to do. Having fans in the room reacting to the press conference stuff, that's way more important than having, us there.
They'll be there. We'll be there.
Like,
people will be there.
Yeah, exactly. The people that want to be there will be there. But it's way more important than just having people that are just there to just critique and just whatever. Like, you want the excitement. You want the video clips of people being excited about your products, because then the journalists and stuff will just watch that and they'll
Sure.
see that. And also the moms and stuff, or whoever the hell the target audience is to get
Well,
excited
USA
about the
Today's
shit.
still gonna write about it, and they'll get out before. They'll be in the paper before getting buried by what? Because that's always been the thing, right? It's like, all right, it's press conference day. It's Ubisoft, it's EA, it's Microsoft, it's Sony, and like, right, like we're excited for Microsoft and Sony, and the rest, it's all like, oh, that's cool. What are you gonna do? But whatever. Like you're buried on Tuesday's newspaper,
sure.
whereas Monday morning you get. I mean, because let's face it, I think that. Sunday night they come out, they're gonna do this whole thing, and they're gonna fucking come out and they're gonna be like, "This is fucking Mass Effect Andromeda. It's out this fall. It's very much the
Similar to Bethesda
Fallout.
last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, Sunday, who knows who else is going to be there this year? Like if anyone else is going to move to that.
Oh,
but
sure.
I just think that this is very similar to the Nintendo thing. And me and you disagree about the directs, but like I don't think Nintendo needs to be at E3 to still be at E3 in the eyes of millions. Like that's exactly what they're doing. They're actually going to be right there, but they don't need to actually be inside the building to be part of E3 and be part of that buzz and be part of the announcements. And a press conference is a fucking press conference, no matter what way you spin it. Even if it's a Nintendo Direct, it's still a fucking press conference. All the shit is the same. So it's just information being given, and I think that they're making a great move. And in terms of the space on the floor, I mean, that room is EA and Activision just taking over the whole thing in the same way that the other room is Sony or PlayStation and Xbox just taking over everything. I
Nintendo
think,
actually usually there's a bit.
and Nintendo's big ass one, yeah. You take out EA, it's still super crowded over there. Like Activision's booth's just gonna be even more of a distraction than previous years, I think.
Yeah, I think that I thought about this a little bit since we talked about it on Colin and Greg Live today. One thing I forgot about and candidly say is that like EA's press conferences are typically pretty bad. So like nothing of real value has been lost by them not being at E3. Like they show Andromeda and all these kinds of things, but they also show. I remember last year's conference. It's fucking awful.
Is that what is last year's Pele when they brought out Pele?
Yeah,
I
it
was
was
like, why the fuck is Pele
it was
out here?
terrible. And they were like, let's talk about. They came out and literally said, let's talk about mobile games, and everyone was like, are you? Oh, we were with GameSpot in their war room, and the audible moan like this company's just so corporate in so many ways. Like I just don't find I don't find many of their properties that exciting. So I just don't find their press conferences that exciting unless they show like a new Dead Space, and they'll obviously show Mass Effect, which is exciting. But like I like Madden and FIFA is very popular and all that kind of stuff, but I don't need to see this shit and all that. So and Battlefront and all that kind of stuff. So I from like a gamer's perspective, from my own personal taste perspective, I don't really care that they're not going to be there, but I do think it says a lot about the way they look at E3. And I think it says a lot about, candidly about the waning influence of mainstream games press that attend E3. EA made a calculation that it's more important for them to, the big thing about this is they're letting in anyone. So E3 is still like this trade show that's easy enough to like get in if you want. And apparently I've always been there with big outlets, but apparently you like can have a blog or whatever.
You got a blog, yeah. You got a YouTube channel.
But like their calculation is like they would rather just have their own thing, deal directly with gamers and more people at tastemakers, word of mouth buzz, and then just know that the press is going to have to cover their games anyway, than just go to E3 and isolate themselves from that group of people. Because I just think that they realize that with the rise of YouTube and the rise of Twitch and the rise of social media, with like just people with just a few thousand Twitter followers, can have great influence over the purchasing decisions of hundreds of people that trust them.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's it. It's having 1,000 or 3,000 people in a room that are all going to tweet whatever hashtag you tell them to tweet is more important for you than 10 people tweeting about it and probably making some snarky joke.
Oh yeah, always snarky joke.
Yeah, so I do think I think that this says a great deal about the direction that the industry is going in, as much as it says about EA's own calculations and EA's own roster of games. Like I think that there's much to be read into this. Because I did not expect it. EA, in fact, I was telling Greg, was like the last company I would expect to let go of E3. So if they're willing to do it, what is Ubisoft going to do? And like next year, and Activision and all these companies, do they need to be there anymore? And like once everyone starts pulling out, does E3 even exist anymore? Is E3 even as important as it was? Because it definitely was on the wane for a while, and then it came back. I mean, it seemed like it was becoming stronger again. And I personally have been to many E3s, and I think this will be my 10th this year. And I don't like going, and I don't think it's that fun or that interesting. It's more fun to just read about things and watch videos from home than it is to be there. And with the proliferation of social media and getting videos out there and just live streaming and going on Twitch and just doing whatever you want, and Nintendo Direct type stuff, but other companies can do that. I think that like the whole nature of these trade shows is going to change, at least for trade shows that are sealed off from mass audiences. Games conferences is going to be fine and probably will grow because anyone can go. But E3 either has to change the way it approaches games, or hope that EA is like not the canary in the coal mine, but just a one-off kind of
someone trying
anomaly.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo even, I think that they kind of started a nice trend with Nintendo World Championships last year of, all right, E3's happening and normal people can't get in, but normal people could go to the same place that EA is doing their thing now and wait in line and get in and see something and be part of this event and get announcements. I mean, the Nintendo World Championship was essentially like a mini press conference for Nintendo before the Direct, where they made announcements and they showed off Mario Maker and made it look fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like that sold Mario Maker so much. Because before it was just like, all right, that's fine, that's cool, they're doing it. But that was like, oh, that's what you can do with this game. And I hope that more people do it, because E3 to me, I don't give a shit if it's in one building or 10, as long as there's a week where everyone is trying to one up each other and battle and have that. And more people are going to start to back out to do their own things, but I don't think those are mutually exclusive. Like we've seen it with Sony. How many goddamn press conferences did they have last year? Like with PSX and they backed out of
Gamescom, they didn't go hard at. They went to Paris Games Week.
Like, it's things have changed. The press conference game has totally changed.
There's a million
for everybody.
conferences all the time, and how do you cover them all? And where do you put your stuff? Yeah.
Convention season is from January to December now. So with all of that stuff, I think that E3 is never not going to be an idea, but I don't think it necessarily needs to be
housed under one roof all the time.
Exactly.
Every game there. Yeah.
So I'm excited about this.
No, it's just fascinating of like how much oxygen is there. You know what I mean? Like how many people can get out in front of the giant behemoth that is these conferences from Sony, Microsoft, and the Nintendo Direct, right? To get out and have their message be heard and not be drowned out, and not have it be that, oh man, Aisha Tyler's not being funny right now. Like not have that be the messaging, right? The messaging be what we saw with Bethesda, which was like, here's this conference and we were excited about everything you said. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure that's what EA's driving at. That's what they're shooting for.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, that is exciting. Will EA actually make a good press conference with this? Because last year, like I can't remember a great EA.
That's the thing
conference.
and that's the whole thing is I don't think it. To be fair to them, I don't think can they make an amazing press conference? Is a better way to put it. Usually, what it is, and I think Peter Moore talked about this, and it's even when we talked about PlayStation, right? Of like, we try to do something for everybody, which inevitably means that you're gonna be Pele, well, and that's me. So, you know what I mean? But then I'm excited about one of their games, right?
Yeah.
This is what Adam I think talked about with us about PlayStation. Of like, we wanted everybody to walk away from PSX's conference excited about 2 or 3 things.
Yeah.
Which means that there's gonna be a bunch you don't care about.
No, that's totally cool, and I get that. But nobody's excited about watching Madden press conferences. I really think like we know those things are coming, and the people that are interested, they'll go watch the trailers, they'll go watch whatever. Like literally at the press conference, instead of spending 20 minutes talking about all the sports games, it could be 1 minute, 2 minute thing of here's our lineup, here's key things that are being added to this year's whatever. Cool.
Yeah.
And
maybe
mobile games, same thing.
Mobile games don't need to be touched. And I think that would be my prediction with what they're doing here, right? And what we're talking about. Because they're talking about that it's, what is it, a 3-day event, right? Then capped off by the Sunday press conference? Or am I putting that in awkward order? You figure then what you get to do there is you get to come out and be like, hey, you've had a great time playing Madden and FIFA, and they have a bunch of new features, and we've talked about those, and trailers are up. But let's talk about, I want to talk to you today about 5 awesome titles.
Here's the new Star Wars game. Here's Mass Effect.
And
that's the thing,
Star Wars
EA
game, shit, you're right. That's probably going to, I bet you actually start with Andromeda and you end with Star Wars.
Yeah,
Put it in the bank.
It's just fascinating. It's just fascinating what they're telegraphing though, with the way they just look at the landscape right now. And I think it goes beyond even mainstream or like traditional games press. It goes even to YouTubers and even to Twitch streamers that I mentioned before, in the sense that you don't need to get any of these people to get hands on if like they want to do like if they want to like just do a trailer analysis, or they're gonna let's play your games anyway, and they're gonna do all these kinds of things. And is it I'm wondering if they're just seeing what Bethesda saw with Fallout, which was like, is there any value to long lead times? Is there any value to even going hands on with the game before it comes out? Like, is there really any value to the preview cycle anymore? Apart from driving pre-sales, which seems to be kind of a waning thing as retail slowly dies. Like, I just think the whole landscape is very unique and very interesting right now, and EA might be like a harbinger of good things to come in terms of like a new way of looking at games and a new way of looking at the industry. But it is a move for control as well,
which is good.
It depends on how you look at it. Like, I don't know necessarily that it's good in the sense. I mean, it's their prerogative to control anything they want with their games before they come out. But is it good? Is it good that like they want to avoid the snark? Is it good that they want to avoid the heat of E3? Is it good that they want to cut out the press? Is it good? Like, I'm like, I don't have an answer, yes or no. I do think that what we hear from a lot of our PR friends is that like the last 2 years or so have been looking far less at traditional games press and more at YouTube and Twitch, and find that to be frankly way more important. It's way more important for PewDiePie to play your game than to have your game on GameSpot, for instance. And I think any publisher would take that.
Well,
deal,
it was a
right?
big change last week. Yeah, last week, 2 weeks ago, when we went to that Far Cry Primal event, and we walked in there and we brought all our equipment to do, Let's Play or whatever. But they had a laptop and a camera and a capture station at every station. Like, it was like, if you want to do it, and like they had so many YouTube people in there. And like when the embargo lifted, I put up our video, and the first thing I saw wasn't IGN and it wasn't GameSpot. The first video I saw was Britt Bromrocker. She had taken out a GIF or whatever, and it was like, my tip for Far Cry Primal is don't shoot bears with fire arrows. And it was her shooting a bear with fire arrow, the bear catching fire and then chasing her around. And I was like, that's the first footage I've seen that's not my footage.
And that's cool. And what I think is very awesome about that is it was one of the first times, and Ubisoft gets it, and we've seen this over and over where they've been super good to us because they see what we're doing and all that. But usually we go to these events and it is all our friends from traditional media and stuff. But this was the first time that I was like, these are YouTubers, and I don't know all of them. It's not like they're big. It's not like they're huge people. And I looked into some of them after. It's like, they're not even kind of big. Like, we're talking,
they're like us.
Some of them, no, but I mean, some of them had like 10,000 subscribers.
Sure, but I mean, like, they're like us in the way that they have an audience that is like,
and
ride or die. What do you say
cool
about this game? Yeah,
that's what's cool about it. Is it's like you don't need to be even that big. You don't even need to be where we're at. This weird kind of hybrid of we're bigger than nothing, but we're way smaller than something. But it's cool to like they get it to the point of they're actively looking of who wants to play Far Cry Primal.
Yeah,
who wants to talk about it and stuff. And I think that's cool.
Yeah,
and like. The other thing too is it's not like these people are just sitting there and they're not going to be yes men. They're not just going to be like, well, this is awesome. Like we're sitting there, there's people around that were making fun of the game and like totally just going in on it and not being like professional in those.
We were too busy figuring out what shale is.
Yeah, and Kevin was busy unplugging everything.
Yeah, I just think it's just fascinating to watch and it can be another topic for another day, but just the waning and waxing influences of different influencers and what that word means and how that means control is being shifted and maybe reined in or given more of to other people. And I think that there's just way more to read into the EA's decision here than just them not being at E3. I think it's them saying like, we have to figure out a new way to go about our business. And it has nothing to do with anything but what we want to do. We don't have to please anybody anymore except for the people that play our games. Mm-hmm. And word of mouth is so powerful. And positivity with smaller groups of people is more positive or more powerful than being on a big website where the comments are wildly negative and the optics are bad. And I don't know. I think that this was probably a thoughtful thing that they had to think long and hard about, and I think they did. And because it's not something to take lightly. It's also probably not something that pleased their partners in the industry either, like the ESA and stuff like that. So I'm sure that there was it wasn't an easy decision for them to make. But I'm interested to see how it works out if they come back next year if it doesn't work out, and then how their success or lack of success influences the other big publishers. Because if 2 or 3 more drop out, E3's done. Like if 2 or 3, if Activision and then Microsoft decide not to go to E3 anymore, it's over. Yeah. Like it's just done. So or Ubisoft and Sony or whatever it is, it can't survive without almost all the big players.
Yeah. What do you think about Nintendo, Colin? In terms of conference,
I think they do. My hope is that the rumors are that they will announce it and then do a conference later. I think that's a mistake. I think that's stupid, but that's probably what they will do. I think that they can get the biggest bang for their buck if they just don't say anything at all. Just say to come to this press conference. No one knows what the fuck's going on. No one knows what the console's called. No one knows what it is. No one knows the nature of the games. They have a 2-hour meaty press conference. It's all about NX. They don't talk about Wii U. They don't talk about 3DS at all.
I get chills just hearing you say this.
They
I
don't,
love this.
They don't acknowledge. They don't acknowledge the consoles, the Wii U or 3DS at all. They're just thrown away, not literally, but just being like, this is not about what we continue to release some 3DS games and Wii U games, but that's not what we're about anymore. Here's the plan. Here's what the console's called. Here's what it looks like. Here are the games. Here's the release date. Here's the price. Here's the idea. Here's the app that will go on PS4 and Xbox One. Here's how it all works. Here's how it all works together. They can make that would be one of the biggest explosions at E3 ever. And whether or not it works out for them when it comes out to market is a different story entirely. But if they want to make a splash, be at E3, be there in the flesh. Do not do a Nintendo Direct. Do not rehearse this. Or you have to rehearse, but don't edit and make this nice clean thing like they usually do. That's not what this is about. You have to be a different Nintendo. That Nintendo might be very intimate and very fun for a lot of people, but that Nintendo hasn't been very successful. So you can't keep
imagine during the Sony press conference, there's a roll clip and it's a Nintendo Direct. that just starts.
That'd be
playing.
wild. I mean, that'd be wild.
I would think of and like, please welcome to the stage, Reggie. And like they've put up in the Nintendo logo. That would be like people would lose their fucking mind. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
And that would be the thing of like, let's say Sony as usual closes out Monday and Nintendo's gonna start Tuesday, right before the show opens. Have Reggie come out and be like, hey, I'm here, we're talking about this NX app, but this is only part of what the NX is. We'll tell you all about it tomorrow during, that'd be awesome. You know what I mean? And that'd be like, to your point, that'd be awesome if they partnered with one person or one group.
And I know that it's a somewhat common theme, and a lot of people think, not a lot of people, but one of the theories about what NX means is N cross. Like,
yeah, crossover.
Like what is it?
Street Fighter cross.
So like, so like, what is it? Could it just be like you picture a logo of just NX and it moves over and it's NX PlayStation or NX Xbox or something like that or whatever, NX
Neo Geo.
Oh yeah,
it's back.
NX Sega.
So there's like it's exciting. It is exciting
it's
because
exciting.
the
I'm
unknown
not sure
the unknown is
about
exciting.
the director conference though. Like I don't know. I'm not sure that they're gonna have a conference because just knowing them, either way I'm in. Like I really don't care, and I don't think there is that big of a difference whether it's a direct or a conference, but. Either way, I'm fucking sold. I want them to have a conference just because I want to be there.
Yeah,
it's been a long time since since Space World really that they which is old now. And Space World used to be so fun to like read about back in the day.
Oh my god,
because we never had a chance of actually going, but where they really like treated themselves like they were big again, like like where like they need to. It's not a fake it till you make it thing because Nintendo is the OG really, with Atari and Coleco basically and really the most important of that group. But to just be like we are Nintendo and like we can do whatever we want and we're gonna do it this way and to treat it like bigger than just sitting at Nintendo HQ and these nice tightly edited videos is just boring.
But I mean
it's just fucking boring.
That's exactly what you just said though. That is them doing what they want and just being like we're fucking Nintendo.
That is them doing what they want. That's them talking to their people. And if they want to talk to their people, then they might as well not even bother. They have to talk to everyone. They have to figure out a new way. It is fun. The Nintendo Directs are funny and they're interesting, but like. During the heyday of Wii and during the heyday of DS, those didn't exist, and that was their most successful period. So it's not like, clearly Nintendo fans are loud and just like any fans of anything really, and they're boisterous and they think that, Nintendo can do no wrong in a lot of different ways, but Nintendo's done a lot of wrong and they need to right the ship because that $18 billion war chest is going to turn into zero. And if they don't start really like making money and figuring it out over the long term and, They'll be fine. At the very least, they have valuable IP and they can do whatever they want with those games if this fails, which I think this is their last chance to really figure it out.
The topic was brought to you by Squarespace. Building a website can be tough, and even if you do know your way around coding, creating something that looks good and works well is a time-consuming affair. Whether it's for a business site, a portfolio, a restaurant, or whatever else, in this day and age, you probably need one anyway. Well, lucky for us, Squarespace makes it easy to build beautiful websites without breaking a sweat. Squarespace provides simple, powerful, and beautiful websites that look professionally designed regardless of skill level, no coding required. Not only does Squarespace provide you with intuitive and easy-to-use tools to create your website with, Squarespace also has state-of-the-art technology powering your site to ensure security and stability. And you can trust in Squarespace for your website needs when millions of people and some of the most respected brands in the world trust in them too. Nick originally made kindafunny.com and Squarespace, and that was a big, beautiful website.
Nick's stupid, so if he can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah. Seriously, you can't beat the ease and simplicity of Squarespace. Squarespace gives you 24/7 online support and a beautiful website, so what are you waiting for? Start a trial with no credit card required and start building your website today. When you decide to sign up for Squarespace, make sure to use the code KINDAFUNNY to get 10% off your first purchase. And to show you support for Kinda Funny Games, we thank Squarespace for their support of Kinda Funny Games. Squarespace, you should.
Build it beautiful.
Yeah. Topic 3. This is a selfish topic. Pokemon is having its 20th birthday. I'm super excited. How excited are you guys?
Very not
excited, especially
I'm
because
happy for you.
it's not the 20th anniversary when it was relevant to us either. Because when I first saw that, I was like, yeah, it's not been 20 years, really. Not for us. For Gem in Japan, Pokemon Green and stuff like that.
Yeah, whatever though. I mean, so 98 is like the real birth of it, to me at least.
Yeah,
but fuck it, I'll celebrate 20 years. It's funny, I recorded a video yesterday where I was talking about my Pokemon memories, which you should too, using hashtag Pokemon20. And I was talking about it, and I was like, yeah, it's crazy, it's been in my life in 20 years. Then I'm 26 now, that means I was 6. I was like, that's not right.
Wait a second. When did you first hear about Pokemon then?
I was 8.
Okay.
Yeah, 98 is when it came out here. The Pokemon was awesome. I have a lot of memories of Pokemon. I was really, really obsessed with it when I was in high school. for periods of time, 98, 99, Game Boy Pocket. And remember sitting with my friend Cody, who's a buddy of mine from Long Island, and we had the link cable, and we used to just play all the time. I used to fucking hammer him. I remember I used to just like destroy
You
him.
suck, Cody.
But we used to just sit at his kitchen table like all day and just grind and play and order food and go to the supermarket and just get food and go through our batteries that we would go through constantly because, of course, for all the young listeners out there, we didn't have to rechargeable batteries on those. It wasn't until clamshell GBA that we even had a Game Boy.
Which is crazy to think about. So crazy to think about.
Which was 2003. So, which I got a Pokemon game with. That's when it came out when Ruby and Sapphire came out. So, and I had Ruby. And so Pokemon is important, like Final Fantasy VII is important in that it introduced a lot of people to role-playing games. But unlike Final Fantasy VII, it's really like baby's first role-playing game. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. It's a much more accessible way to enter into the world of statistical video games than Final Fantasy VII was, even though Final Fantasy VII is very stripped down compared to 6 and 5 and 4. So Pokemon is really important. Pokemon's up there with Doom and Mario and whatever in terms of like the pantheon of like very influential and very important games. And obviously the sales play it out. It is also a series that is in desperate need of new ideas. I stopped playing it after Diamond, I think. No, it's got to be after that.
No,
right?
Diamond. There's only been one generation after that.
Yeah, okay, so that's the last one I played. Yeah. And because it's just, it literally is the same thing over and over again. It's not, there's literally nothing.
Fuck, no, I'm totally wrong. What am I talking about? There was Black and White after that, and then X and Y.
Yeah,
There's Black and White, Black and White 2, and then X and Y.
I didn't play those, so Diamond was the last one I played. Which was, I think, 2009 or so, probably, 2010.
So you're missing out because everyone since then did at least shift into more of a 3D game. It's still the same thing.
It's the same game. Like, and I don't know what you're supposed to do, like, to make it different. That's why it's not my series, and I'm not a game creator. But that's the one. It's stale. It's super stale to me now. But I think that I'm in the minority, and I also think that a lot of people that like Pokemon now didn't play it in 1998 or 1999 or 2000 or 2001 or 2002. So they'll come around and be tired of it, just like I was by 2010 as well, I think.
And there's going to be another group of people playing it for the first time, and I think that's kind of the weird secret of Pokemon. Because I mean, obviously, I'm such a huge fan of the whole franchise, but I am very much a fan of the older ones, and like I'm not a purist in the sense of like I won't even play the new ones, but it's like they don't have that same magic, and it is just the same thing, and it is fun every couple of years to play it again and like have a slightly new adventure and just be like, all right, cool, like that is why I love Pokemon. You get addicted to it. But I would love to see them actually make some huge changes, but at the same time, people are scared of change, and that's what the spin-offs are for. And I think Pokemon has had so many spin-offs that have had some great games.
Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, and definitely.
Where is another Snap?
All these other things, they're great, and nothing touches the core games though. And I think that we've had a couple console RPG Pokemon games, but they were never quite the same thing. It's not what we wanted, but that's an example of them doing something different. So like Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon
Coliseum, that's right.
The XD Gale of Darkness or whatever, the GameCube games, like those were RPGs. They were really light and whatever, but like they were different adventures where you weren't just doing the go to 8 badges and do all that stuff. But I don't know. Then again, I'm not a game creator either, so I don't know what I want, but they can just keep doing this forever. It's funny to me that what I want the most is just another remake of Red and Blue. Like I want that on a console and just do it. Just go all out, but it's like, why do I want that? Yeah,
it's also easy for me to say that I want them to change it for something I'm not super invested in anymore, because when they changed Dragon Quest, for instance, with 10, I was furious. So and all of us were. And Dragon Quest is a series similar to Pokemon that's changed very little. Because I don't feel like it needs to change. So it is easy for me to like sit here and be like, well, Pokemon needs to change, whatever. But I just don't think it's deep enough for it to not change. It is a very rudimentary RPG. It is like one of the simplest RPGs there is. It's just really fun. The hook of collecting things reaches so deep into our psyche as gamers, I think, because we like to collect things. I think as gamers, we like collectibles, we like
Check
intel,
boxes.
we like to just find things, and we like to collect games and put them on our shelves, and we like collectible card games, and we like all these things. And I think that it just resonated with us.
And I think that, specifically the people around my age, that hit at the perfect time. Like if you didn't like Pokemon, there was something wrong with you. Like it took over. And I think Pokemon's so much more than just a video game to me, because as soon as it came out, there was a cartoon, and then there was a card game, like all within a matter of a year. Like it all happens so fast. And then all of a sudden there's spin-offs and there's this and that. And there's Pokemon Pinball and there's like all these things that you're like, it's just consuming your life. And there's movies and stuff. And for me, Pokemon was so integral in my friendships and just meeting people and what all of my relationships with people in my class meant. It's like I had one friend that I watched the show with, and I remember when the movie came out, we went to go see it, and like we lost our fucking minds seeing new Pokemon. It's like there's more than 150. That fucking thing, the blue thing that we thought was named Pika-Blue is actually named Meryl. Like this is nuts. Like this is fucking nuts. I can't handle this. And it's like those moments happen so much. They happened every week when I'd go and buy a fucking booster pack and open it up and see which card I got. And like my friend got the fucking holographic Mewtwo and I'm stuck with the Pokemon Breeder as my rare card. And I'm like, oh, God damn it. But then the next week I get Blastoise. And like they figured out to make this crack for kids to get money out of every single way that they could. Whether it's the movies or buying the TV shows VHSs or buying the comics or buying the cards or buying the games or buying the strategy guides, all this stuff. I bought it all. You know, it's like they really got the hooks in. And I think that that's why it's the same, is because all those things fed into each other. And it's like, if you play the game, you're going to like the show, because if you like the show, you're going to play the game. And if you play, you know what I mean? It's a cycle. And the show just keeps going. Ash is still 10 years old in the goddamn show, but he's done so much. And all it is the same thing over and over and over. But it's new kids watching it, and it's a whole new group of Pokemon and shit. I am most impressed by the fact that it's been going on this long, and we look at it and we're like, oh, it's the same thing over and over. And honestly, it's at the point now where I didn't even play Ruby and Sapphire's remakes on the 3DS because I'm like, I'm gonna wait. You know, I can take a break for a little bit longer to
you're wait for that big
it.
MMO, that Pokemon MMO.
Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, again, not even that. I'm not even talking about a big shift. Like maybe I'll wait till the next just gen comes out and then I'll get back into it. But Pokemon's 20th anniversary, they're going all out without actually announcing anything big, and I think it's because of the NX. They're in that weird holding period, but I am very impressed with how they're handling the anniversary, because a lot of anniversaries are like, all right, hey, it's the year of Luigi or whatever, you know, and it's just nothing really happens. Or the
Year of the Osh.
The year of the Osh, where it never even happened yet. But it's always every year in my heart. But with Pokemon, I mean, they're doing so much shit. They're on February 27th, which is the anniversary of when Pokemon first came out, they're going to re-release Red, Blue, and Yellow on 3DS, which I'm super excited about. They're updating. Playing? Oh, hell yes, I am. They're updating that so that you don't need a link cable and you can just
do it wirelessly.
Do it wirelessly over Wi-Fi. What's crazy, you can battle over Wi-Fi. Like, what the fuck? I didn't realize they were adding that until I was like researching last night. Like, they're adding online multiplayer to a freaking Game Boy ROM. I'm impressed with that. That's really fucking cool. And then in Japan, they're doing the same thing, but they're also releasing Green version, because Green came out in Japan, never came out here. And they're actually getting box versions. Fuck you, Japan. I want that shit.
Japan wins again. That sounds awesome.
And then they're doing the obvious normal anniversary thing where they're releasing 3DSs that are with the actual, like the new 3DS with the faceplates.
Yeah.
And there's one that comes with the original art from Red and Blue's box, which looks fucking cool. Japan has 4 different 2DSs that are colored based on the red, yellow, blue, green, and they have the games pre-installed on them. In fucking nerdy news for me, Pokemon the first movie, Pokemon The Power of One, and Pokemon Spell of the Unknown, the first 3 movies are being released on Blu-ray in a special ass steelbook. So I'm like,
you gonna get it?
Oh yeah, they're speaking to me. I mean, this is it. Like, this is them being like, hey, Tim, here you go. Here's the random shit that.
Thanks, Pokemon.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, you're so good. They're also releasing. There's 18 Pokemon movies at this point, which is really crazy to
think
about.
Have you seen them all?
No, God, no. I saw the first 3. That was it.
Okay.
They're releasing those just digitally in HD. They're doing a whole new Pokemon trading card game, like expansion called Generations, that focuses on more of the old school ones that we grew up with. There's also a mythical Pokemon collection, so it's all the fancy ones like Mew and Celebi and all that shit. And they're also doing a mythical Pokemon distribution event where throughout the year, one a month, they're releasing all these legendary Pokemon where you can go to different places like just the Nintendo Network or GameStop and Best Buy and stuff like that, where you can download these Pokemon that were only available at specific times throughout the last 20 years.
Gotcha.
So that's cool. I mean, like people that get super into the meta game of Pokemon and all that stuff, which I was never on that level, but like this is huge for them. And then there was that Super Bowl commercial, which did you guys see it?
No,
I haven't watched it yet.
I was waiting for the Super Bowl.
They're gonna do an edited version on the Super Bowl. Like I think that the one online now is like a minute long. The other one's probably just gonna be like 15 or 30.
Okay.
It was awesome. Like Kevin saw it. You like it, Kevin?
Yep.
Yeah, Kevin liked it.
Kevin liked it. You're better than Kevin. You're saying you don't like it out there?
I was really impressed because it was a different direction than I thought they would
What
take.
is it?
A Super Bowl commercial. So pretty much
Should I watch it right now?
not right now.
Okay.
But after the show, you should definitely check it out. It's cool. It's a hype thing, and it's the theme of the 20th anniversary is train on. So they're kind of taking that and they adapted it. You see like some little kid running and like training to run. You see some girl playing chess, and it just keeps going on. And some guy playing football, and it's very subtly Pokemon, like very subtly. Like if you look in the background,
I'm
you
gonna
can
watch it.
kind
You're
of
ruining it for me.
see little
Just
things.
cut out me watching it. We watch it together, and then we jump ahead the minute.
I don't want to watch it.
You
Oh, I
piece of garbage.
You can watch it later.
I'm not cutting it up.
You're not gonna cut it out.
I want Greg to live watch it.
It's
I'll
not live.
I'll say this too about Pokemon that can't be it really can't be overstated is that it really reinvigorated the Game Boy. Game Boy was old by the time it came out, and no one was playing. Like, not honestly, no one was playing, but the Game Boy was in a lull at that point, pretty significant lull. And Pokemon, like by the time we got Pokemon, Game Boy was 9 years old.
Yeah.
And it's pretty significant that its biggest game came out that late in its cycle and let it live and gave us the pocket and the color and all this kind of stuff to kind of like
Pokemon's
hold us
why
over
I got
to
a Game
GBA.
Boy.
Oh yeah, I had a Game Boy long before that, but
I mean, I was young then. Like,
that's
you know,
true.
that was the thing. Is I had
fucking
no
loved
reason.
Game Boy. I loved
But-
Game Boy.
But
It's great.
Pokemon, I had to have it. You know, I really did. Like everyone else had it, and I got it late because I was poor. But eventually, I did get it, and it was great. And that's why I got stuck with Bulbasaur as my first fucking starting Pokemon because my friends already got Charmander and Squirtle, so I had to trade with them.
Right.
So I got fucking stuck with Bulbasaur.
I think I got my Game Boy in 1993.
Oh my
1992
God.
maybe. I got it
I
at
was 3.
Bradley's in New Hampshire. Huh?
The big brick one?
That was the only one that was
The
available
only
then, yeah. And it was $99.99, I remember. And I
That's
got
crazy.
Mega Man 4 with it, if I remember correctly. It was awesome.
Headphones.
No,
No, it was
there's a lot of bleed on those.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyways, there's a lot. I love Pokemon so much. You guys know that, and I'm excited for this year. I'm a little bummed that there's not a game to come with the 20th
Yeah,
anniversary.
it's like what happened with Mega Man too. When it's like they're clearly not ready.
Yeah.
It's disappointing, but but I also really feel like it's important. This is an important milestone in Japan, but and I understand like we celebrated the 20th anniversary of PlayStation in 1994, even though we didn't get PlayStation until September 1995 here. So it is based on when it originally came out. And I totally respect that and understand that, but it'll resonate with me more in 1998.
Yeah.
When it
But
really is
I
20
also
years,
think
'cause
with
then I'll
this,
feel
though,
really fucking old as well.
they're celebrating throughout the year, and they have things planned throughout the year. So I don't think it's too late for them to announce something later, like at E3, like for the NX or whatever.
That'd be nice.
So,
It could be a launch game
yeah.
if it comes out this year.
What do you think?
It's fine.
I love it.
Well, it's because it's aimed at you.
Yeah.
It's totally.
But the football player walking out is like,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
no one
like
ever
no one ever
was.
was. That was
Hell
fun.
yeah.
but I
Ah.
was like, all right.
Oh man,
So what? We all inspire each other. Is that the pirate?
Yeah.
Pokemon inspires us all to be. Not even Pokemon. Actually, it turns out that some kid watching a cockfight in the road or whatever the hell was happening, and then he just I can do that, and he just runs up a mountain. I don't know what the
Yeah.
hell's going on.
No, man, I like it a lot. I just think it was a different direction. I wasn't expecting that
Very, very different
commercial
direction.
from Nintendo.
I liked the commercial for the iPhone game or whatever that came out, that when they were walking around and they were doing the pings and stuff. That was a more interesting
Pokemon Go.
Yeah, that was a more
Yeah.
interesting Pokemon.
So that's the other thing. Now we have the list of games. I mean, this year we got the Pokken Tournament coming out March 18th on Wii U. I'm super excited for that. Pokemon Go, still saying sometime 2016. Like on the 20th anniversary trailer they put out, it did say Pokemon Go 2016. So that's really exciting to me. Pokemon Picross came out last month, and people seem to enjoy it. I was never a Picross guy, so I didn't play it. And then the most important, Great Detective Pikachu, the birth of a new duo, comes next week to Japan. No news of a U.S. release, but we can only hope, because that shit looks awesome.
and he's named the guy. His partner's named
The
Tim,
partner
right?
named Tim. The new duo, it's Tim and Detective Pikachu. What the fuck is that game, Colin?
I don't know, and I don't really care either. The second I saw that image of Pikachu wearing his little
was the
Sherlock
second?
Holmes hat, I'm like, I can't.
That looks cute.
It
I
was
liked
the
it.
best. Did you
can't.
watch the trailer?
No.
You need to watch the trailer.
I can't.
He talks, Colin. He has a deep voice. He speaks Japanese. Like he's speaking, and then he walks up to another Pikachu, and the other Pikachu, he's Pika. He's fucking talking. It's great. It's fucking great.
I can't.
Oh, I can. I can hard. Anyways, I'm really excited. I love Pokemon. I hope
Good,
they
I'm
do some
glad.
cool
I hope
shit.
you have a great year.
I'm very excited for the re-releases of Pokemon coming to Virtual Console. Like I never thought that would happen because Nintendo
cool.
is so like that's one of their Disney Vault things.
Yeah.
Just like Pokemon is very generational and like they stick to it, but they're doing it. They're finally doing it. Hopefully, this means we'll get Gold and Silver and Crystal, my favorite ones. But it's gonna be nice replaying the original Pokemon game. I haven't done that in a long time. I hope that they keep all the glitches because that's what made that generation so special. But now they're updating shit. I don't know. If Misty Knows gone, I'm fucking out.
Tell me, brother.
Topic 4. This one, as always, brought to you by the Kind of Funny forums. Go to kindoffunny.com/forums. You can go to kindoffunny.com/gamescast topic to leave your topic for this big, beautiful show, just like Ilian did. Nope, that's the wrong question.
Ilian Gonzalez.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Right.
Yusef Majuid says, Dear Kind of Funny crew, for me, the original PS2 launch game Summoner was an amazing game. While I had always played games before, this was the first game I lost myself in. After beating Summoner, I realized that gaming was more than just a passing fancy. There was no going back. That I was a gamer now. What's the game that made you a gamer? Thanks, Yusef. So this is a different question than what's the first game you ever played.
Right. Yeah, I know. I always go, I mean, it's a tired story for me, but I was talking about Metal Gear on PlayStation, right? And the fact that, like, the story goes that I had it in 64, and I had consoles before then, obviously. And I remember running into a friend from junior high when we went to a homecoming dance in high school. And he's like, are you still into video games? I'm like, yeah, but I'm thinking about I'm thinking I won't be forever. Because, like, this is all it is. This cartoony stuff, you know. Like, Mario's great, don't get me wrong, and I'm excited for this game, Conquer's Bedford, and all these different things, but it's like, it's still in that point where I felt like I was butting up against this wall of like, are these still kids things? Is this a kid toy? Is this, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you're trying to find yourself and decide what you enjoy and stuff like that. And then got the PlayStation 1 when the N64 was about to go down. And then, you know, one day rented Army Men, Sarge's Heroes and Metal Gear Solid. And I remember being like, oh man, yeah, right. EGM was always talking about this game. Went home and put in Army Men with Poe, and I was like, this game sucks. Let's try the Metal Gear one. And that was the one where it was like, you start it and there's like the cutscene and the credits and you're Snake swimming underwater. You're like, what the fuck is this? And then just like we marathoned that game. You know what I mean? Like got to the second disc and it was just like, holy shit. This, I always talk about it like I didn't know it at the time. I couldn't put it into words, but that was like the glimpse of like, this is what games will be or can be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm in this for the rest of my life.
I think games that, you know, because I played so many side scrollers when I was a kid, that games that bucked that trend were the ones that showed me that games can be more immersive and bigger than that. I think Castlevania 2 is probably like one of the great examples, even though it is a side scroller. It's a non-linear role playing game, and it's got items and experience points and all this kind of stuff. And it doesn't really explain anything, so there's bad translation and all this kind of stuff, and you really need help to get through the game. And it was one of those games that I played where I was like, this is a very special and unique kind of way to go, even though I love the original Castlevania, and I think that formula is really, really solid, and they went back to that formula with Castlevania 3, but Castlevania 2 is that example, and I think Final Fantasy 4 or 2 when I played it in the States was a riff on games that I'd seen before. I had played Final Fantasy and I had played Dragon Quest and stuff like that, and had seen those games being played as a very young kid. Dragon Warrior as we knew it, and but Final Fantasy 4 was the first one, or 2 was the first one where I played with Dagan, my brother, and it was like I was like, this is insane. Like I as a 7-year-old when we bought it, I was like, this is an insane game. I don't understand this game. I don't get how this works. How is it so long, and how is it so deep and non-linear, and what are these characters? And there's just so many permutations of equipment, and you just do whatever you want. And that was probably that was the game that made me love role-playing games even more than Dragon Quest, because when I played Dragon Warrior, people might remember Dragon Warrior games came with a lot of inserts, like and you would like unroll these huge maps, and they'd have like images of all the enemies, and like you just knew everything about the game. And I was obsessed more with that than I was with the games. But with Final Fantasy 4, it seems like they immersed me and put all that stuff into the game itself so that I can feel like I'm in this one cohesive world. And it made me love that genre. And then you kind of expand out there. Super Nintendo was such a great, formidable fucking console for that genre. That not as good as PS1, I don't think, but certainly had its great games, where you're talking about Secret of Mana and Secret of Evermore and Lufia and you know, obviously Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger, and I mean there's a lot of those kinds of games on there that it scratched its similar itch even better than Final Fantasy 2 does. But I think that was the one. So I'd point to Castlevania 2, I'd point to Dragon Warrior games, and I'd point to Final Fantasy 2/4.
I have a really weird answer. but I got to go with Paperboy.
No, that's not a weird answer.
Because I think that game, I played the Mario games before then, and they were amazing and stuff, and I loved them. I enjoyed them a lot. But there's something about Paperboy that, because it is just one of those arcadey, like,
Brutal.
get as far as you can get, and like, and it gets really hard. And it was just so quirky and weird. And like the fact that there's like the baby running across the street, and like there's all these like little characters and all these hazards and things that happen. And then it just more and more happens. You get to Tuesday, and then the Grim Reaper comes out.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, what the fuck is this? And I think the moment I became a gamer is when we started coming up with background stories for these characters.
Sure.
We started thinking about like why that kid was running across the street, who was driving the red car, why Grim Reaper was coming. Like, we were trying to rationalize all of it, and like why people would unsubscribe from us, and like fuck these guys, we're gonna break their windows. And we created metagames within the game of, all right, not only do you need to give the good people mailboxes, you also need to break the windows of the bad people, and doing all that. And that was the moment when we took the game that they gave us and made our own game from it. I think that's the moment that I was like, this is my life, and I love it a lot. Question 2 comes from the Arctic Sloth.
We know him. Frank
Hey, Tim,
Sizemore.
and other beautiful bastards at the table. How have video games affected your real world problem solving skills? I don't know.
I'm not sure that they have, to be honest. I mean, game logic is totally different than real world logic mostly.
Mm-hmm.
In my experience,
I mean,
game logic is its own thing.
yeah, but so you saying that sparks something with me is like, I'm a schemy bastard. I'm always trying to like game the system. And I think video games are about gaming the system. It's like when you're grinding an RPG, you want to find, when you notice that there's a place you get more experience points, you stay there, and it's things like that where if you translate that to real life, I think I do that a lot where I'm like, when I see the opportunities, I'm like, all right, I'm going to latch onto this and kind of figure out like what's the best way to optimize what I'm doing here. And did video games teach me that? I don't know. Maybe
More of a don't give up attitude, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like games, you're like, there's a way to beat this. I haven't figured out yet, but there's a way to beat this. I feel like maybe that's something you do there, but it's not like, I think, super easy to be like, well, I think adventure games taught me that I should always go up to doorknobs and try to touch them with the banana to see, Because adventure games are dumb.
they are.
The old adventure games are really dumb, Kev.
This is an interesting question
Sorry,
that I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say. Icy Flames 96 says, hey, Tim, Colin, and Greg, is it possible that the Ratchet & Clank reimagining might be in some danger because of its release window? First off, at PSX, an April 12th release date for the game was announced, which is the same day Dark Souls 3 comes out. Also, Uncharted 4 was pushed back to April 26th, which is 2 weeks after Ratchet & Clank releases. These two factors will definitely hurt its sales to some extent, but how significant do you think it will be? Keep up the great work.
I don't think expectations were high for that Ratchet & Clank remaster or whatever, re-release, reboot, whatever. And I think they're aiming at different audiences. I don't think you have to worry about Dark Souls people. Like, well, I was going to pick up Ratchet & Clank, but Dark Souls is out. You know what I mean? Sure, don't get me wrong. There's some of you out there who just said that. But I think I think the fact you're timing it with a movie, you're trying to get new, younger people into it, right? So are new, younger people afraid of Dark Souls? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think
Uncharted,
Dark
there's
Souls is
enough
an
of a
issue.
thing there, and it's also the same thing. Like the super hardcore PlayStation fan is going to pick up both Ratchet and Uncharted and be ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know that it matters. I don't think the play with Ratchet the Ratchet reboot is to sell a lot of copies to PlayStation owners as much as it's to be available for people that see the movie.
Yep, you leave the
and
movie,
hope
you go buy the game.
I think their play is just that they hope Ratchet can live again, and so I think that the play is like that doesn't matter when it comes out. It just needs to resonate with moviegoers. People that want to buy Ratchet are going to buy it, and the people that know about it are going to buy it too. And so I'm not so sure that, to Greg's point, that I don't think expectations were especially high for Ratchet as it was, or as it is.
R Shaw 8 says, hey guys, do you ever feel like you consume a game too quickly so you don't savor the experience? Whenever I find a game I'm really into, I'll play it nonstop until completed and then have no reason to continue playing. I feel like this might be lessening my experience and cause games to be forgotten all too soon. P.S. for Colin, this is also true when reading books for me.
Oh.
What about you?
No, I'm with books sometimes, but with games, I actually play them pretty slow. A few hours at a time. I usually don't play games for more than a few hours at a time. It's just not. I used to when I was younger. I used to play games all day, but I just don't want to do that anymore. So no, I think that sometimes I play them too slowly, and then something else, some other shiny object catches my eye, and I don't finish it. I mean, that happened to me a lot last year. So there's something to be said about playing, getting them out of the way. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's about developing the experience you kind of want to experience with that particular game.
I feel it all the time, but I like it that way. I do sit down there, and I'm very cognizant that I'm sitting down and beating Uncharted or Last of Us or whatever in 2 nights, or the story mode of Lego Marvel Avengers. I sat there all Saturday and played, right? Because that's how I like to play games and stuff. And it does dawn on me at some point of like, man, I just tore through that level or this, that, or the other. You know, I got all the collectibles or whatever, but like someone's life was fucking this environment and making it look as good as possible. And I tore right through it and didn't really sit down and take it all in and da 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 da. But to Colin's point is I feel like I want to play as much as I want to be able to play whatever I want to play. And part of that is that I do get distracted and it does move on. Even right now, like this week's been too busy to play. I'm going to platinum Lego, right? But it's been too busy to play Lego. So it's like Saturday, I'm going to sit down and go balls deep in Lego again just to get it done so I can get to the Witness before I get to Firewatch, before I get distracted. I'd like to try the Gravity, you know what I mean? Like there's so many things that pile up and get there that it's like, that's how I like to consume it. But I do think every so often of like, man, I wonder if it at a different pace. But the problem is then I feel like it's like binge watching shows. You know what I mean? Like when Arrow first started, I watched one episode. I was like, this isn't for me. And then season 2 was amazing. Everybody was saying, and they were all available right on demand. And sat there and plowed through season 1 and then bought all the rest. And now that you do the same thing with like Jessica Jones, where Jessica Jones 4 episodes in, I was like, Nick, I don't like this. He's like, stick with it. And then it was like, watch 2 more. Holy crap, let's watch 5 more this night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I enjoy getting a story that way. Otherwise, I jump back. Like how many times do I jump back into games that I've taken breaks from? Like, wait, what's happening? Who's happening? How do I play this? And what? You know.
Yeah, no. I mean, I definitely do not play games like I used to because back then I didn't have too many. So I was like, this is my game for the next 3 months or whatever. And I would make up stupid paperboy stories and shit.
Yeah.
But like you really would read every sign, talk to every non-playable character, do all that stuff. Now it's more like, all right, let's just keep going. Let's just like, not worry about it. Even platformers. I love platformers so much for their like artistic design and like the music and the sound effects and all the little tiny things.
The nuances.
I don't know, notice them too much. It's when a game makes me stop and slow down that I'm like, oh shit. Metal Gear Solid comes to mind where the difference between how I play Metal Gear Solid 5 and how I played Metal Gear Solid 4. With 5, I'm just like, I just want to keep going. There's so much to do. I just want to keep going.
Sure.
Just keep going. Whereas with 4, I was so, as a fanboy of Metal Gear Solid, I was like, I love this. I don't want it to end. And I knew it was going to. I knew that the story was going to be told. So I like had to pace myself. I'm like, I'm limiting it to 1 act a night. Like I cannot play more than that or else I'm just going to be done and it's going to be over.
Sure.
So I think there's
some
a lot
games
of
use it
different
to their
experiences.
advantage. You know what I mean? Back to the Last of Us example, right? Like that was a tear of I'm playing and I want to consume this. I love it so much, and then they force you to slow down, right? With the giraffe scene.
Yeah.
And like I remember, I tell the story too, where it's like, all right, I think it's about to end, so I'm gonna go out and walk Portillo. And when I did, reflecting on that scene, like tears come to my eyes of like how much we had just been through, and then it gives you that moment of like now you're supposed to think and you're supposed to reflect and you're supposed to take it all in.
Yeah. Final question for the day. Visage says, do you think Let's Plays hurt game sales? Many people began using Let's Plays as an alternative to buying and playing games, especially with smaller titles. Do you think this is harmful for the industry as a whole, or does the additional advertising of Let's Plays help increase the game sales?
I think it's great. I think it's the exact opposite of a problem. I think that I think the people are like, well, I can watch this game, I'm not going to buy it. You probably weren't going to buy it to begin with.
Yeah.
You probably weren't on the, and how many times have we seen it go the other way where, I did That Dragon Cancer Let's Play, right? And I said at the beginning, like, this is very narrative driven, and like Emily is Away. This is another great example, right? We're going to play through this and like, if you liked this, go buy it. You know what I mean? You've watched us play this thing. If you don't think you're so many people tweeted me that they went and bought that game and they don't have a gaming PC and this, that, the other. Like that's the way to do it, right? If you're going to have a game spoiled on that level, then yeah. But Let's Plays are always about, at least from what people tell us and what the few that I watch, like, because I want to watch them, it's about personality, right? I want to see that person. I want to see their reaction. I want to know what they're thinking about it. It's not, man, I really want to see how this game goes. You know what I mean? If that's the case, then it's a game I didn't really want to play. I just wanted to see that scene every
And then you're
about.
either sold or not based on the Let's Play. For me, you guys are used to this, but I'm still new to the scene of all this. But I am shocked at how many people have tweeted at me saying they bought Amplitude because of the Let's Play we did. And so many people were like, I even watch your Let's Play, I don't really know what's going on, but like I see that you're good at it. And if you're good at it, that means that you put thought into it because you don't really play too many games or whatever. I'm like, I love how much thought the people put into it because they're coming for us, you know, and seeing something that we enjoy, they're like, oh shit, I might enjoy that too. Right. So that's really cool.
I think, and I don't know, there's no numbers behind it, but like Dan and Patrick's Mario Maker rivalry sold Mario Maker for sure to so many people and showed the longevity and how crazy you could get with that. You know what I mean? And again, that even if you don't want to make those levels, you can go play. That's got to be the biggest thing, right? You can go play Dan Reichert's level. Yep. Can you beat the Danocalypse or whatever the hell it was called? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, man, it's great.
No, I don't agree that it's bad. I think there are some games that it could hurt with Until Dawn, for instance, or something like that, a game like that where it's very narrative driven. You don't necessarily need to or want to play and you just want to watch it. But I don't think I think that there's a net gain on almost every game with Let's Plays unless the game sucks.
I mean, even with Until Dawn, my thing is, I played it with Nick for I'd say maybe 85% of the game, and then I fell asleep. So because it was the 24-hour live stream.
Extra Life, what up?
It was like 5 a.m. But then I watched the rest on YouTube, and like that was fine for me. I'm like, I got the experience of whatever. That's the type of game. But having said that, I totally want to buy the game for parties and stuff,
And I
because it's
think
like such a cool party game. And like, even though I'm like, oh, I'm just watching this, it's great to have, because it's like Until Dawn's one of those games where it's like, whether you watch it or not, you want other people to experience it.
Yep.
It's like a good YouTube video.
It's totally
like you want
that's
to take credit for
That's
it.
got to be one of the best examples you'd think, right? Of like, when I beat Until Dawn, like I want to see other people play it. So if I don't have that readily available, I want to do that. And we've seen so many people tweet that, yeah, they saw it and they were scared. They thought it was gonna be super scary. They see it's not. Now they want to go play it with their friends and show it to other people.
This episode brought to you by Loot Crate. Loot Crate is a monthly subscription box service for epic geek and gamer items and pop culture gear. For less than $20 a month, you get 48 items that include licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. Make sure to head to lootcrate.com/kfgames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on any new subscription. Loot Crate's more than just a subscription service. It's an entire community of fans that share their experience and interact with each other around the unboxing of each month's crate. And they guarantee $40 in value in every crate. Sometimes it's a lot more. Every month there's a different theme, and all items are curated around that theme. For February, we've braved the dangers of Alexandria and bribed some mercs with chimicham. My lord, my mouth today is just rubber
Filthy.
and filthy garbage. All right. We braved the dangers of Alexandria and bribed some mercs with chimichangas to bring you the finest loot this side of the afterlife. This month's theme is Dead and reaches across genres to bring you exclusives, including a t-shirt and 2 figures to celebrate new episodes of The Walking Dead and Deadpool's solo film debut. Remember, you only have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate, and when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over, Jack. So go to lootcrate.com/kfgames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on your new subscription today. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
This has been fun.
It has been.
Kevin, thank you for not making too much noise this episode.
Yeah, only unboxing records for some reason.
I love you all.
You're that bored over there.
You guys are amazing.
Chipped up.
I will see you soon.
They're old.
You're cool. Bye.
Oh, records. You can't break a record.